Hi everyone, this is Cameron Moon. I'm the Assistant Curator of Historic Architectural Resources, and today I'm going to talk about the wallpaper in the caretaker's house. The caretaker's house was originally built around 1870, specifically for a caretaker to live in whose sole responsibility was to care for the main house and grounds while phosphate was mined on the property. The Drayton family leased the property out to various phosphate mining companies starting in 1866, so I believe that they wanted a caretaker to live on site while they were gone, specifically to watch over the main house while they were not there on the property. This is what the house looks like today. It's now part of our visitor center and it houses an exhibit that chronicles the postbellum and 20th century history of the site. This is what the exhibit looks like on the inside. So when Drayton Hall opens back up again, please come and you'll be able to see this exhibit. We did not know really anything about the wallpaper. We knew very little for a long time before we started this research. But what we did know came from this man. His name was Richmond Bowens. He was born on the property in 1908 and he grew up at Drayton Hall. He lived in the caretaker's house for a few years in the 1920s. His mother, who is highlighted in this photograph, was named Anna Bowens. She lived in this house from 1923 until 1937. And Mr. Bowens remembered that she decorated the house every single year with a new layer of wallpaper. He remembered that she used a flour paste, a paste made out of flour and water, to adhere the different layers to the walls. So this is what the house looks like today. We just see these wooden boards, but you can see the evidence that I've highlighted on the slide of that flour paste. So we did know a little bit from a former National Trust for Historic Preservation employee. When the National Trust first acquired the property, they did move this house from its location next to the main house closer to where it is today, and they moved it so that it could be a gift shop. But right before they turned it into a gift shop, he remembered that they removed 16 layers of wallpaper. This photograph is the only one we have of the inside of the house historically, but you can see that the wallpaper is in very bad shape, which is probably why they removed it. So when we first started to work on this project, we started to remove some of the door trim on the inside of the house, and we found several layers of wallpaper beneath the trim. So this photograph is a picture of some construction personnel removing that trim around the door, but you can see on the right side that there is a perfect strip of intact wallpaper on the right. Before we started this project, we had 2 wooden boards in our architectural fragment collection that had wallpaper on them. So we always assumed that they had come out of the caretaker's house, but we didn't know for sure until we started to remove that trim. You can see on the right that white wallpaper with the green leaves matches perfectly one of the layers that's on a partition wall board on the left. And the partition boards formed a wall that was around the central chimney, and so it was a dividing wall that separated the house into 2 rooms. So while it was very exciting that we found these layers of wallpaper, no one on our staff is a wallpaper expert, and so we reached out to Greg Herringshaw, who is the assistant curator of wall coverings at the Cooper Hewitt Museum in New York. And I sent him a whole lot of pictures, and he sent me back with the following information. The first is this layer. You can see at the top it says Union Made. So he told me that this is a union label. He's done a lot of research on it, And all he can find is that it means that it was made by union workers in America, and they started printing this on wallpaper in 1908 and did so until the 1950s. He found this layer particularly interesting because it's printed on ungrounded paper. What that means is it has no ground color or almost like a base coat. He said that it was common for most manufacturers to print a base coat first because it made the paper age better and also look better. But Sears and Roebuck, they were notorious for using ungrounded papers because it meant that they could do it cheaper, and so they could undersell other manufacturers to entice customers to purchase their products. The layer in the center with the spots, it almost looks like leopard print to us today. He said that these were commonly put in high traffic areas like children's bedrooms and kitchens because it hid the dirt better. And they did patterns like this in high traffic areas before paper became washable. And it didn't become washable until 1934. So this layer predates 1934. This piece where you can see the letters OLORS, or it actually should have said colors, this was done by manufacturers as a marketing tool to promote the fact that their colors were fade-proof or non-fading, and they started to do this in 1928. So this layer postdates 1928. So thank you for joining me in a brief history of the wallpaper in the caretaker's house. And next I'm going to play a quick video of actual pieces of wallpaper that we removed from the house and that are now in our collection.